What's up, college sports fans? I'm Stuckey.
I'm Colin Wilson.
I'm Mike Calabrese.
I'm Maria Marino.
I'm Charlie DiSturco, and we're excited that the Big Bets on Campus brand is launching its very own YouTube channel.
You'll be able to find every episode of the BBOC podcast, live shows, and other college sports content on this new channel.
Not only will the channel be dedicated to betting on college sports, but you'll also be able to find exclusive interviews with former college athletes,
college football power rankings,
and updates on other topics like the brand new College Football 25 video game series and the ins and outs of the recruiting trail all the way down to the transfer portal.
Whether you're into college football,
college basketball,
college baseball, or any of the college sports,
we are the home for college sports, and BBOC is the channel for you.
Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of the action. I'll see you there.
Welcome into Payoff Pitch. We are Action Network's Major League Baseball betting podcast presented by BetMGM. Brendan Glasheen joined by BJ Cunningham and Tanner McGrath for Tuesday, July 30th. Deadline day, Tuesday in Major League Baseball. It's a full slate. We come to you on Monday evening as games are in progress, so please bear with us. I'll just get this out there now. Tanner, McGrath, Kenny Ducey, some of our other contributors, Zarilla will have opening pitch. They will have you covered for anything that goes down on deadline day. 6 o'clock Eastern is the MLB trade deadline on Tuesday the 30th. So keep your eyes glued to any updates and news because guys could get pulled from their start or guys are moved from the lineup. All those kinds of things. And a team that might be acquiring a piece, they're going to have to make a move to their lineup, etc. So it's a busy day to keep an eye on your on lineups. There is one day game on Tuesday. It's Cleveland and Detroit at 1:10 Eastern, and then the rest of the games start after 6 o'clock. So there you go. There's your housekeeping for the deadline. We'll jump right in. Let's start with best bets as we normally do. BJ, what are you eyeing with all those things in mind, it being deadline day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the Rangers at minus 120 against the Cardinals. I think we have a pitching matchup that probably should have taken place in 2012 and stayed there, not ventured into 2024. But Max Scherzer versus Lance Lynn.
Wow.
Scherzer doesn't really have the stuff that he once had. His stuff plus is 84. But he's been doing a great job of learning how to pitch without having an elite fastball anymore. I mean, this fastball is only averaging a little over 92 miles per hour. It's got a stuff plus rating down in the 60s, but he's been very effective with the location of it, been moving it around the zone and been very good with it. His slider has been just as good as ever. 116 stuff plus rating, has over a 45% whiff rate on that pitch. But most importantly, even though his fastball is not that good, the Cardinals have the third worst expected weighted on base average against right-handed fastballs. Only the White Sox and the Rockies are worse against them, and they're very league average against right-handed sliders as well. So those are the main two pitches that Scherzer throws. So I think Scherzer will have a decent matchup. And Lynn, who's just as old as Scherzer, has not been good. We went through on the last podcast when he pitched against Paul Skeens. He did pitch 5 innings of shutout ball, but he was very, very fortunate to actually have 5 shutout innings. His xFIP in that start was 7.13. We've been over this season, but his stuff plus numbers are just as bad as Scherzer. He's at 84 as well, but he doesn't have a single pitch that's over 100. And his location plus rating is 99, whereas Scherzer is above league average. So he's not even doing a really good job of locating all his pitches. And Lynn has been somebody historically throughout his career who throws a lot of sinkers, cutters, and fastballs. And all 3 of those pitches have not really been that effective. So with the Rangers being good against right-handed pitching, I think that they're a little undervalued here. So I like them at minus 120.
Okay, the combined age is 77 years old.
Again, this probably should have stayed in 2012 and not come all the way 12 years later, but here we are.
Yeah. Scherzer's 40, right? Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, yep, and Lance Lynn's 37. Okay. Wow. BJ just made a comment before we started. They got Eric Fede today, and they just love old pitchers, those Cardinals.
They really do.
And they're hanging around. They're in the mix, the wild card mix. All right, Tanner, what say you? Best bet for Tuesday, July 30th.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot more on that super old pitching matchup between the Rangers and the Cardinals later on. But first, I want to start by talking about the Giants hosting the red-hot Oakland A's on a late West Coast game at 9:45 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday night. Robbie Ray returned from Tommy John to make his debut for the Giants last week, and he was pumping in 95-mile-per-hour fastballs. What, dude? Since when? He hit 97 on his fastest pitch. He's been sitting 93, 94 his entire career. He was just under 94 last season. His stuff numbers on the start were the highest of his career by over 10 points. His induced vertical break was up. It was looking like elite at times. He earned 9 whiffs with the four-seamer, then followed it up with 6 whiffs on the slider, which he was throwing 5 ticks faster. What? And he showed off a recently added knuckle curve, which produced 7 whiffs on only 15 thrown. So he wrecked the Dodgers. He just obliterated them. He struck out 8 batters across 5 innings of 1-run ball. And I don't know what he did during rehab, but he looks like a completely different pitcher and a potentially dominant one. And so I think it's time to buy Robbie Ray. And I'm definitely going to buy him against JP Sears, because Sears has kind of fallen off after a hot-ish start. His first month, April, was good. He has a 6.6 ERA and a 6.2 FIP across his past 7 outings. The Astros, in his most recent start, took him for 7 runs across 6 innings, and his velocity was down a tick. And his left-handed status puts the Giants in their much better split. The Giants ranked 2nd in WRC Plus against southpaws in the season, a 120 mark. They're just 15th against righties, a 98. The Giants can stack like 8 righties in their lineup on any given night. And Sears' platoon splits this season are relatively severe. A 250 weighted on base average allowed against lefties, 360 against righties, 3.9 xFIP against lefties, a 5.3 against righties. It's also worth mentioning that I just wrote a big long piece about how flatter, elevated fastballs play for pitcher lists. BJ actually gave me this idea, so check that out on my Twitter if you want. Sears is one of these guys who throws like a low velocity, low ride fastball up in the zone. And it plays because of his lower arm slot and flatter approach angle. Like, you can get it to play if you throw your fastball flatter, but only at the top of the zone. And the Giants are among the top 10 baseball lineups in average and hard hit rate against elevated upper third fastballs. I think this might be a really good matchup for the Giants lineup. Also, you have to think, I think you give the bullpen advantage to the Giants here. They've been underwhelming on the season, but they still rank top 5 in reliever expected FIP, top 8 in reliever stuff plus. And the A's are now a close to replacement level bullpen with Mason Miller on the shelf. I mean, they've produced 2.6 reliever WAR this year. 1.8 of those wins have come from one Mason Miller. Still, the A's can't stop hitting. I mean, they're the hottest offense in the league over the past month. They've posted a 154 WRC plus against lefties during that span with a ton of fly balls. And Robbie Ray is a fly ball pitcher. He has a career ground ball rate under 40%. And what worries me here is that I think we're getting pretty intense hitting weather on Tuesday in the Bay, like relatively or I know Oracle is a pitcher's park, but we're getting, 15-mile-an-hour winds directly out to center field. It's going to be really humid. So Ballpark Pal's weather model projects this total closer to 8.5. There are widely available 7.5s, and I think that feels too low for good hitting weather, 2 teams that obliterate lefties, and some cracks in the bullpen. Still, I need to buy Robbie Ray. I think the Giants have a pretty considerable edge on the mound here across all 9 innings, and I'm willing to buy the Giants in a higher scoring game. So I'm going to go with the Giants on the money line, and the over, I'm looking for anything minus 190 or better on the Giants, and over 8 low juice. 7.5, though, is preferable.
All right, very good. They're your best bets. Let's head to our Fade the Public segment. So maybe 5 years ago, BJ, Aaron Nola and Garrett Cole, that would have been the peak of those 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Garrett Cole and Aaron Nola head-to-head tomorrow at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies, Yankees. Right now, the Yankees are leading the Phillies as we talk to you on this podcast. It's 7-2 Yankees, so I'm sure we'll have to monitor some bullpen usage in this game. For Tuesday, that is. 67% of the bets, 88% of the cash on the Philadelphia Phillies, which would be a bounce-back spot as of right now. Zach Wheeler getting lit up. He's been kind of a regression candidate lately here, and that's coming into effect. What do we think of this game for tomorrow? Is there value on the Yankees against the Phillies with Nola pitching for Philadelphia and Garrett Cole on the mound for New York?
I think it just matters what your perception of Garrett Cole is right now, right? I would I'm waiting for a first 5 line to come out. If the Yankees are plus 110 or better, I'll have to consider taking them on that. If you look through Garrett Cole's game log, he's had, he's got his ERA and his expected ERA are very, very high right now. But it's really just because of 2 starts. And it came against the same team. It was against the Mets. He had 2 starts against the Mets where he gave 6 runs. You look through all of his other starts, he's been pretty dominant. Now, the stuff plus numbers have taken a dip. Last season, he was at 124. Now he's at 112. Why? Well, his fastball's lost velocity since he had the arm injury. So the fastball stuff plus numbers have taken a dip. But I think we've gone a little too far here. I mean, he's still got a 115 stuff plus rating on his fastball. Like that's well above league average and still very, very good. It's maybe just not the elite of the elite that we expect from Garrett Cole. But, in any case, it's obviously going to be a very difficult matchup against the Phillies lineup. But I mean, the Yankees have been hitting the ball incredibly well lately, and they're really, really good against right-handed pitching. Yes, it might all be Garrett Cole and Juan Soto, but I mean, excuse me, what did I just say? Garrett Cole
and Soto. You meant Judge?
Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, excuse me. But in any case, I mean, those 2 guys are just absolutely mashing the ball. And so even if you avoid them, now you have Jazz Chisholm in the lineup, it makes the Yankees a little bit more difficult to face. So in this type of matchup, the Yankees are very good against right-handed curveballs as well, and that's the main pitch that Aaron Nola throws. Might be a decent matchup for the Yankees, but I'm going to avoid it for now. The Phillies bullpen will be the one to monitor. They pitched a ton of guys on Sunday. Well, so if this game becomes closer, obviously if it's, it continues to be a blowout, they'll use a couple back-end guys in there. Bullpen will be fine. The Yankees should be at least have everybody available. So, be on the monitor for that. So if the Phillies don't have anybody available, then it might be time to jump on the Yankees for the full game. But I will be looking to potentially take the Yankees for the first 5, depending on where the line goes.
All right. Yeah. I mean, for Garrett Cole, he's made 7 starts since coming back in the middle of June, 9 homers allowed and 7 to the Mets.
Yep.
Otherwise,
I mean, the Phillies are very good against right-handed pitching, so it's not like it's just going to be like, since he's not facing the Mets, it's going to be fine. But again, it is only 2 starts.
All right, Tanner, I think you're willing to back the public here as of right now with the money and the cash flow in on the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm going to push back on BJ here for a little bit. And my perception of Garrett Cole is, I'm riding with the Phillies. I got a minus 120. I think that's good. I don't think Garrett Cole is the same guy anymore. Like you said it, his fastball velo is down 2 ticks. That's a lot. He's lost some ride on it. He's lost a bunch of advanced pitching model metrics on it. His command has been sloppier though too. 8% walk rate. He's had multiple walks in 3 of 8 starts this year. I also don't entirely love how his slider is playing. His last start, he earned 3 whiffs on 30 of them thrown. That's very low for him. And look, he's looked great at times this year. He's also been shelled 3 times. And I just don't, I think the market is still valuing him as the AL Cy Young, reigning AL Cy Young winner. I don't think he's that guy. And my bigger part of this handicap is that I think Garrett Cole is trending down. I think Aaron Nola is trending way up. I'm actually very bullish on Nola. He has pitched to a 3.2 ERA and a 2.6 expected FIP over his past 6 starts. He's found an extra tick of velo on his fastball during that time. And his curveball is really, really firing right now. I know BJ said that the Yankees hit curveball. That's what you said, right, BJ? The curveball? The Yankees are good against curveballs. His curveball, though, is really firing. I mean, his last 5 starts, he posted 7 curveball whiffs against Minnesota, 8 against Pittsburgh, 10 against the Dodgers, 10 against the Braves, and then 7 against Miami. Those are wild numbers against some good lineups. I mean, it's helped him strike out 42 batters across those 36 innings. His strikeout minus walk rate during that stretch is 24%. That's up 6% over his year-long average. I'm just really bullish on Nola moving forward. And so, therefore, I think I would give the Phillies the starting pitching advantage in this matchup. And I'd obviously give them a pretty monstrous bullpen advantage, depending on who gets used Monday night. But considering the Yankees are way up, you'd think that the Phillies wouldn't use their higher leverage relievers. And either way, the Phillies have they probably have the second best bullpen in baseball. They rank second in bullpen WAR, second in bullpen expected FIP. All those guys are good. They have lots of depth. And I've said it a million times. The Yankees are a bottom 10 bullpen, 23rd in bullpen WAR, 17th in bullpen expected FIP. They've been overvalued all season. Clay Holmes is just not that good. Their setup guys are not that good. these are still two of the more talented lineups in baseball. They're also inconsistent. I mean, it's nice that the Yankees got that lefty boost in the lineup with Jazz Chisholm. I think that'll help them find a little bit more consistency going forward. It makes them a little bit less top heavy. But ultimately, I think the Phillies steal this game behind a 9-inning pitching advantage on top of home field. I mean, Citizens Bank starts to get rowdy around this time of year, especially for a monster interleague set. So I like Nola and the Phillies on the money line.
I got breaking news.
Oh,
For the second consecutive year, this is from Jeff Passan. For the second consecutive year, the Los Angeles Dodgers are acquiring Ahmed Rosario.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
not a needle mover, but it is breaking
Rosario and Edman are like the same guy, aren't they?
news. Exactly.
See, Jeff Passan, once again, I think it's our third straight pod where we've had breaking news during the recording. Gee, so the Rays are selling another guy, huh? They've made out pretty well though in these deals. So who knows?
They
what the
have.
return is.
They have, and the thing about it is like you sell Eflin, and then Jeffrey Springs is pitching on Tuesday for them. So it's just like, is it really that big of a loss when you're already out of it?
Yeah, when Charlie was talking about this last night when we did the Monday pod. Morel is a plug and play guy too. Like that might be an even swap. Paredes is the other guy that's going to Chicago, right?
Oh, I mean, the Rays have a ton of guys who are incredibly versatile that they can use in a lot of different positions. So getting another guy that's able to do that is just a benefit to them.
All right, Ahmed Rosario to the Dodgers for the second straight year. Jeff Passan 2 minutes ago. Very good. All right, let's go to underdogs. A consensus underdog. It's a team we've been talking about a lot on this podcast. Dare I say, this is like an Action Network darling team between now and October. It seems you're all in on the Minnesota Twins. We'll go, BJ, you go first. Why the Twins for tomorrow?
Yeah, so
Tuesday.
We've got a really good matchup here for the Twins with Sean Manaea on the mound. So Manaea is a pretty big negative regression candidate. He's been that all season long. I mean, this is really nothing new. 3.7 ERA, 4.5 expected ERA. He just doesn't have great command. He walks a ton of guys, about a walk per 9 rate closer to 4. But the big thing about Manaea is that he's a huge sinker ball guy. He uses it like 40% of the time. It doesn't really have much dip on it, and it has a lot of run on it, so he likes to use it up in the zone quite a bit. That's not going to work against the Twins, who are not only the best lineup against left-handed pitching, but they have the second best expected weighted on base average against left-handed sinkers, and they hit the ball up in the zone really, really well. So it's a really bad matchup for him. David Festa, will be making his third start. If you look through his game logs, he had a couple bad starts against Diamondbacks and against the Tigers, but he had a really good start against the Phillies in his last outing. He's pitched really well at AAA this season, 3.14 xFIP. He's got a really high strikeout rate. And, facing the Mets lineup, especially as a right-handed pitcher, is always very difficult. But I'm not so sure that he should be priced as an underdog comparatively to Manaea. And, in terms of bullpens, the Mets don't have that significant of an advantage either. So not so sure the Twins should be sitting here at plus 120, probably should be closer to plus 110. So I like the Twins at plus 120.
Tanner, your thoughts on the Twins?
Couldn't agree more. I snagged the plus 120. I think anything plus money or better is good. The Twins shouldn't be dogs here. There's zero reason why the Twins should be dogs, considering they're trending up in the bullpen. They are the hottest, most dangerous, most dynamic lineup in baseball. They're in their better split. By the way, on the season, they're about 8% better against lefties than against righties. And this team shouldn't be dogs against Sean Manaea, who BJ put it out there. He's a low stuff, low velo, sinker heavy pitcher who's overperforming. And even though he allows a bunch of hard hit fly ball contact, and to echo his sentiments on Festa, I'm not giving up on David Festa just yet. He had that rough start, allowed those 12 runs across his first 2 outings. He also posted 15 strikeouts to only 3 walks across his first 15 innings. He's had some brutal home run luck. 22% home run to fly ball rate is far from sustainable. He still has that hard upper 90s fastball. He still has that heavily used slider with a 120 stuff plus mark. That pitch is the one that he's kind of really known for. Runs like mid 80s with a lot of depth. It really dips down on you. And his changeup is forcing a 35% whiff rate. If he keeps that fastball elevated and throws his breaking balls underneath, the stuff looks really good. I think it looks good enough to play. It absolutely did against the Phillies in his last start, where he turned 13 whiffs into 7 strikeouts and held the ever-dangerous, hard-hitting Phillies to only 1 run across 4 innings. And I think he can replicate that performance against the Mets. We all know they've been white hot. I don't think anyone can stay that hot forever. I think they're starting to trend closer to a league average lineup. The Mets probably have a slight bullpen advantage, but the Twins also have a solid defensive advantage. And that's another thing about the Twins. That's another thing that we like about the Twins. They're a really good all-around team in every phase of the game. They have a lot of starting pitchers. They have good bullpen. They're so dangerous in the lineup. They can play defense. They're just top 10 at everything. And that's why we're buying them so much right now, especially with Brooks Lee up, Royce Lewis back in the rotation, or in the lineup, excuse me. This team is so dangerous, and they're going to win a lot of games here very soon. And I just don't think they should be dogs against Sean Manaea. Let's just hope David Festa, his bullpen, his defense, and his lineup show up. But Twins should not be dogs here. No way.
Okay, there you go. Twins consensus underdog for Tuesday the 30th. We'll get a couple more before we get out of here. First 5 angle from BJ with Justin Steele on the mound for the Cubs.
Yeah, I do like the Cubs for the first 5 here against the Reds. Justin Steele, you look at his numbers this season, they're actually better than when he was competing for the Cy Young last year. I mean, he's around a 3 expected ERA type of pitcher. He's really, really good with his fastball. We know that he can use it a lot of different arm angles. He actually this season, if you haven't read it, you should, like Tanner mentioned, you should go read his piece on flat fastballs, because Steele is a guy who can utilize his arm angle a lot of different ways, and he comes in very, very low, and he can throw that flat fastball up in the zone, and he's getting a really, really high number of fly balls this season, whereas last season he was throwing it more down in the zone. He was like a little over 50% ground ball guy. Well, now he's only like a 40% ground ball guy, and all those ground balls have just turned into fly balls instead of line drives. So he's actually gotten a lot better with the usage of his fastball, because, he uses it 60+% of the time. And then he throws a slider beyond that, and that pitch has been really good for them as well. The Reds have been below average against lefties, so I think it's a decent matchup for him. He's going against Frankie Montas, who's been terrible this season. He's got an ERA at 5, expected ERA at about 4.7. He's walking more guys than he ever has. His control is off. He's not getting a high number of strikeouts. I know the Cubs haven't been that good against right-handed pitching, but they have a severe starting pitching edge here. Now, we don't have a first 5 line as we record this, but I did project the Cubs closer to -160 for the first 5. And given that, their line right now is sitting around -120, my guess is that line will probably be in -125, -130 range. So I'm guessing you're going to get a decent amount of value on that. So I like Steele and the Cubs for the first 5 innings.
All right, and as we started the podcast on the Rangers and Cardinals, Tanner is going to once again, I guess in a way, rip into these older pitchers going head-to-head in Scherzer and Lynn.
Yep, BJ is absolutely right. This pitching matchup should have stayed in 2012, and it should not be happening this year. I will be on over 8.5 Rangers and Cardinals. I'm looking for low juice. Ballpark Pals model makes this total 9. I agree for a few reasons. Before I get into the starting pitching matchup, we're getting really good hitting weather as far as Busch Stadium goes. Fairly moderate winds out toward left field, mid-90s temps, low pressure, high humidity. So we're looking at a +7% home run factor for this game, which is interesting because Busch generally plays closer to like a -6% dinger factor. So there's a good chance some harder hit fly balls get some extra carry on Tuesday, which brings me to Max Scherzer, which is where I'm going to push back on BJ a little bit. He has always been slightly vulnerable to the long ball, even during his most dominant of days. But as that fastball velocity has decreased, now down to 92 miles per hour on average, the home run problem has increased significantly. Since the start of last season, we're talking about a 14% home run to fly ball rate, a 1.6 home run per 9. He's allowed 5 in 35 innings this season. I think he looks vulnerable. Sure, he's locating better. Walks are down. Weak contact is up, but strikeouts are way down, just 23% this year, 33 in 35 innings. He's posted an expected FIP near 4 since the start of last year. And the home run problem is a serious issue. And so the Cardinals could be in for some dingers against him on Tuesday in a really good home run environment because they're a top 10 lineup against righties on the season. They have a 114 WRC plus over the past month with a 9% barrel rate and 26 home runs. Wilson Contreras, Paul Goldschmidt, and Alec Burleson have combined for 19 of those. And much like Scherzer, Lance Lynn, BJ talked about it. He's always been that triple fastball guy, like four seam, cutter, sinker. And as that velocity has dropped from 94 to 92, 91, 90, he just can't get whiffs anymore. He can't miss bats in the zone, and his advanced pitching model numbers have crashed. I mean, he now sits with an 84 stuff plus mark across his arsenal. Only plus pitch is his slider, which he throws 7% of the time. And he has seen his home runs problem spike much more so than any pitcher in the league, I think. A 16% home run to fly ball rate and a 1.7 home run per nine over the past 3 seasons, 14 in 100 seasons in 100 innings this year, including 7 across his past 30 innings. So he's actually regressing in the home run department as the weather gets warmer. The Rangers, they're a good offense. They're not hitting enough fly balls, but they're still hitting the ball hard. 42% hard hit rate over the past month. They're very disciplined. So if they could just elevate a few in great hitting conditions, I think they could go off here. For what it's worth, one guy that might be interesting from like a prop perspective, Marcus Semien is 8 for 25 off Lance with a homer and 3 doubles. Expected slugging near 500 based on a 16-degree average launch angle. So he's kind of been able to elevate those fastballs. Now they're a lot worse. I love the Cardinals bullpen, but that unit's slumping. 5.5 ERA over the past month behind a 10% walk rate. And the Rangers bullpen has always been erratic. I've talked about it before. Second highest reliever walk rate in baseball, only better than the White Sox. Bottom 10 in reliever location plus. Their 3 highest used relievers, that's Leclerc, Urania, and Robertson, have combined for 63 walks and hit by pitches in 133 innings. So you've got 2 pitchers with home run problems, great home run weather, 2 erratic bullpens, projections pointing towards the over. I like the over, 8.5.
There you go. Scherzer, Lynn, a lot of runs potentially. And as Tanner said, weather-friendly Busch Stadium tomorrow. All right, gentlemen, that's it. Very good. Deadline day, July 30th. Keep your eyes glued to all the news. And with that in mind, potential lineup shifting and starting pitchers that could get pulled. But I don't know. Most of the guys that are pitching Monday are like deadline targets. So we'll see. Hopefully we get ourselves a busy deadline. Keep your eyes glued as well to actionnetwork.com and the Action Network app. Follow BJ, Tanner, and the rest of our MLB crew for anything else they should add this week, because we're back on Friday for Best Bets. For BJ Cunningham, Tanner McGrath, Brendan Glasheen, thanks for tuning in to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. We are presented by BetMGM. You all have a great night, and we'll talk to you again next time. Thanks.